What's up YouTube? This is Velopert. Few days ago, React Router version 4 has been pre-released. In this video tutorial, we are gonna check out what has been changed and learn how to use this thing. If you read what they have posted on their pre-release description, it seems like many things have been changed. It's not just a bug fix or just some enhancement. They totally have rewritten the code for React Router and now their API is completely different. Well, new APIs. That might be a bad news for some of you because we have to migrate, right? But still, they say that they've made it for the better. So yeah, let's figure it out. First of all, obviously, you have to prepare a React app. Well, you can use your favorite boilerplate or create it from scratch. In this video, I am gonna use a tool named Create React App, which is one of the famous React starter kit made by Facebook developer team. Now, create a React project and let's get started. Once it's done, let's install the React Router module. And this is how you install it. You have to type this @next at the back, or else it's gonna install the version 2 of this module. Now open the code editor. You can use any type of code editor for this, and I'm gonna use VS Code in this tutorial. Let's remove some files that we don't need for this project, which are files except app.js and index.js. Alright. According to the documentation, these are the first principles of the new React Router. It says everything is a component. So if you know React, you know React Router. And a location is a data that represents where the visitor is or wants to go in your app. And match turns a location into UI. These two things, location and match, are the new concepts of this version. In our project, we are going to create 3 major routes. They are home, about, and topics. And in order to do that, we have to make a component for each of them. Open your editor and create home.js file first in the src directory. I'm gonna use a snippet to write down the component code. If you are using VS Code, you can simply generate the stateless component code by typing rsc. You can do this by installing this extension named React.js Code Snippets. If you are using other editors like Atom or Sublime, there will be some similar extensions that you can install. Or else you can make your code snippet on your own. Anyways, let's complete the code. Our component name is home and all we're gonna render is h2 tag in here. And that's it for our home component. Some of the React beginners might come into a question that looks different from the component code that I know. Why are you using constant function to make a component? Shouldn't it look like this? Well, this type of component is called stateless functional component, which was introduced React version 0.14. This stateless components may also be referred as pure components or even dumb components. Does that feel familiar to you? For the components that do not have states and that do not have to care about lifecycle APIs, you can declare the components in this way. By using this stateless components, you are signaling to React that you don't need a React component. From this, it is able to make a bunch of optimizations. You are encouraged to use this stateless functional component if you don't need lifecycle APIs and access to this keyword. I mean literally, this keyword. I will provide you a link of a post written by James K. Nelson that tells you when to use a class or stateless functional components. It is really useful. I recommend you to read it through if you have time. Check out the link below the YouTube video. Anyways, let's get back to the main topic. Now let's create about component. It's gonna be the same as what we did for the home component. Just write down h2 tag inside. Next, let's create a topics component. This is gonna be a little different. Topic component will receive a props named path name. Which the match component later will pass to this component. And this path name is basically the path that we will set for this route. Later, we are gonna set up a subroute in this component, and we are gonna make a usage of this path name when we do that. But for now, we are just gonna print the path name in here and implement the subroutes later. Now open up your app component, remove all of them, and create a skeleton code. On the top of the code, you have to import some components from React Router, which are browser router, link, match, and miss. And for browser router, we are gonna rename it to router, just to make it simple. In here, we are gonna wrap everything inside the router component. And in this part, let's put some list tags. In here, we are gonna put the link to the route. Instead of using a tag like this, instead of doing this, we are gonna use the link component. By using this link component, it will prevent page reloading when it gets clicked. Instead, it will just replace the components that we will see. And this is how you write the link component. You have to set the prop named to and write the path for the link. So the first link is gonna route to home, and second link is gonna route to about, and third link is gonna route to topics. And below this list, we will make a space for other children components to render. In previous versions, this is how we handle. We receive the children props and we render the children where we need it. But from version 4, it's not the same. We use match component to handle this. And there are 4 kinds of props in this component. There is a pattern to set the path name for the route, and a boolean value named exactly, which checks whether the pattern matches the given path name exactly. And this location props, you use this when you don't want to match the location on context. And this component is the component that we will show when we route to the path. Now let's write some code. Let's create a HR tag in here just to draw a line between them, and let's type a match component. But before we do that, we have to import the components that we need. Okay, now let's match a route to the home component. When you are writing a match component to the index page, remember to put this exactly. And that's how you write it. It's similar for the another component. You route to about and topics. And we are almost done with this major route. Just remember to remove this line if you have used Create React app before you start the server. Now open up the terminal and start the server to check whether the project works or not. It rendered the page successfully, and when we click the pages, it will show the components that we have created. And this topics will show the path name in here because we set it to render this. Now we are gonna create a subroute for the topics now. Open the topics file and import the link component and match component from React Router. We are also gonna do similar stuff that we did in this app component, but we don't need this router component because this topics component is already wrapped by this router in this app component. And for this part, we'll make a list tag one more time. And we will use this path name to make the subroutes work. We will use the template literal, which is the feature of ECMAScript 6, in order to do this, which allows you to put the JavaScript expression inside the string, which we are gonna use is path name. Okay, we are done with creating the link list. Now we are gonna put some match components in here. If there is no parameter in here, we will show a text that says, please select a topic. In order to do that, we are gonna create one more component in this file. Okay, we are done. Let's create a match component in here. Since this is we are gonna write a sub-index page for this, you have to use exactly in here. What this means is if the pattern is a path name, just show this empty component. And next, if there is a parameter, for the pattern, just copy this and replace this part with a colon and a parameter name. And the name can be anything you want, like topic ID. Now we have to set the component to show, right? But we don't have one, so we are gonna make a new component over here. A component named topic. In here we set the parameter name to topic ID. We can read this parameter name by reading the property named params. In here, we are gonna render params topic ID, which is the name we set over here. Now, let's set the component to show. That's it for the subrouting. Let's see whether it works. Yeah, it's working perfectly. Now, there is one more thing we have to implement. What happens if we write a unknown path like unknown blah 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 blah? It will show nothing. Let's learn how to handle this. So you have to create a component to show in that case. So the component name can be anything. My component name is gonna be not found. In here, we wanna say following page is not found. In this topics component, we use the path name probes, but in this not found component, we cannot use that because it's not a valid route. Instead, what we can use is location. And if we render the location.path name, it will render what we want. Once it's done, load this component from app component. And use this, our last component, miss. It's easy. Just miss, set the component probes to not found, which is the component we just made. And save the file and you're good to go. It's working. It's working. Everything is working perfectly as we want. It's working. And that's it for this tutorial. For the codes used in this tutorial, I will provide the GitHub repository link below the YouTube video. You can take a reference to them if you need. And for more examples of React Router version 4, you can just check out the React Router documentation. They provide good examples such as authentications, preventing transitions, sidebars, even animations. They're good. How do you think about this new version of React Router? I feel it's quite awesome. It's simpler than the previous versions. And there are some more concepts that I haven't described in this video, such as server router. It's now completely separated. Memory router and hash router. You don't set the history proofs no more and it's completely separated too. And this route config seems like it's kind of cool. And yeah, that's all I got for you in this video. And if you find this video helpful to you, please like the video and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.